following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.
This isn't just a game. This is iRacing. Friday evening of racing on the Captain Esports Network to Dover Motor Speedway. It is the penultimate race in the All-American Cup Series presented by Harpoon Designs as we get you ready from the first state. That is Delaware. Dover, the Monster Mile virtually on iRacing. It is 200 laps and 200 miles of racing. It is the Leafguard of Vermont 200 here from Dover. I'm the captain. Happy Friday night. We get ready to race. We have gotten ourselves a championship fight on our hands as we are looking at 3, 4, maybe 5 drivers with a chance to compete for a championship here next week at the Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway. But first, they must get by old Miles as he is ready to eat and claw and scrape and pretty much when it's all over with, pick the winner of tonight's race. That's how this track works. It is very slick out there. Tire fall off, a big deal. There is one slight change in the setup, by the way, tonight. That was announced this week by owner Casey Carrington. And that was just a simple gearing change. Basically, they went down on the gearing just to knock off the top end of the engine power. Basically, you were chipping down the straightaway almost with the speeds they're running around here, so they wanted to make sure you didn't have that issue when you ran full speed down the straightaway. But 170 plus miles an hour through the straights, down into the corners of 130, 140 miles an hour. Of course, with the right front tire and everything taking a beating. And by the way, there's a scoring tower here. And so many just things to talk about. A tricky pit road on entrance, a tricky exit on pit road. You go back to the previous races here at Dover. We've seen a lot of green flag racing. Will we see it again here this evening? Only time will tell. Either way, as mentioned, 4 drivers within 29 points of the points lead here as we get into the 13th of 14 races. And not to mention what's easily overshadowed. Of course, I've brought it up a few times during our other races, is there's not just a championship when it comes to this season. There's an overall championship also that comes into play here after 28 races, 2 seasons worth. That becomes interesting enough. But tonight, a 4th visit here for the All-American Cup Series. And who knows what we're going to see. Because we've had a race have 16 cautions. We've had a race with 11 cautions. We've had a race with 4. Thankfully, the most recent one had the 4 cautions. And we'll see if we do that again this evening. Looking over at practice times right now, Mark Whitley up there at the top with a 23:36, and that's with about 2 minutes or so to go before we get to qualifying here, of course, presented by Mike Husby Designs. Let's talk to some drivers here. Or at least one. And let's talk to a guy who seems to be on a little bit of a hot streak, per se, here these last few weeks as Nick Terrell joins us. Nick coming off that top 3 finish
Howdy.
at Road Atlanta. Hello. Had a chance at a good finish last week, of course, in that race, and starting to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. Can we go get another great finish here this evening at Dover?
That's what I'm hoping. See if we have any long runs and let some tire saving and more moderate driving maybe pay off for me. We'll see how it goes.
I know last season we had the couple cautions, and then we went the last 150 laps green flag, and that might suit your alley because obviously with the way these tires work out, and of course the fuel going about almost 55 or so laps, that would lead into a 2-stopper. Is that more what you're thinking tonight, hopefully?
I think something like that would be what would actually give me the best shot at anything. That's for sure.
So you finished 13th last week at Iowa, but that I don't think that kind of says where you ran, because I mean you were up there battling for the top 3 at one point. How do you put the whole entire race together? I know you've talked about more being a road course guy, but putting that race together to get more consistent top 10 finishes.
Just trying to be smarter and just keep the car clean. And if I can kind of find my way in the mid pack around the mid part of the race, then that's like my best chance at anything. If I get wrecked early or have to start doing some more aggressive pit strategy, I'm not as good at the sprint type stuff. So it's usually where it starts to bite me.
Right. Well, great job so far, and hopefully you get a good run tonight here at Dover. Go qualify, get ready, and we'll maybe talk later.
Yes, sir. Have a good one. Thanks.
You too. Nick Terrell, the driver of the 81, the Doritos driver, running like a chip on his shoulder or something for CX2. All right, qualifying about to begin, and of course qualifying, as per usual, is presented by MHD, Mike Husby Designs. Mike here tonight, ready to go racing, as we'll see who gets out there on the track and wants to lay one down here really quickly. And it looks like the teammates of McWhorter and Whitley are going to be the first 2 cars down there on the track. If my cameras would switch over. There you go. There's McWhorter. Of course, these two up there in the running right now. McWhorter, of course, has had a huge comeback after that issue in the early part of the season where you end up having to sit out a race. He has done a great job to bounce back from that and is all but caught back up. And the question is, can he finish it now? As right now he's P2 there behind Mark Whitley, 23.62, and a 63 for McWhorter. Dunaway with a 23.94, so a good lap for Sean. Rosenberg up to P4. Brad Delp, Christopher Heller on track there in that 8 car. Wanted to fix something there really quickly. Heller up to P2 with a 23.59. Barkuski goes P4. Good lap on his part. Seeing everybody pretty much run their fastest laps here on lap number 2 as my cameras keep adjusted back to scenic. There we go. Here's Zach Rogers on track in the 4 car. Carrington up to P6 as they go down the back straightaway. Zach Henry to the pole with a 23.52. Good to see Zach back at the track. As Rogers goes P10 with his lap. Matthew Weeks, one of the hottest drivers here in the last couple of weeks in the Mountain Dew 11 car. Weeks P13 right now, 23.85. Corners a lot longer than the straightaways here, so you're pretty much launching off of turn 4 down the straightaway up to about 170 miles an hour and diving off into turn 1 as Weeks, 23.58, goes P2 in his qualifying lap. How about call it the corny car, if you will, tonight. Craig Martin in the Ben car. Oh, he's almost took Ben out. Stephen Miles, last week's pole sitter at Iowa. See if he can go 2 for 2 here. As he brings her off turn 4 and goes to 8th, 23.71. And let's see, got about 2 more cars left. As here's Telder, you got Nick Leo and Justin Ray out on track. They haven't logged a lap yet. Telder goes P22 with a 24 flat. Needs to make up a half second here. And that's not going to do it. Leo stays P12, 23.77, so 1 car left. And I can tell you now, Justin Ray up the track, that is not going to help his lap time here. Down the back straightaway. Did he kiss the wall there? Turn my head for a second. That's not going to count either lap of Justin Ray. So Zach Henry looks like going to be the pole sitter here tonight. Congratulations to him as he wins the MHD Designs Pole Award for tonight, as we will now cross over into the 5-minute warm-up session. And let's talk to the driver who won the pole award, and that being Zach. Good to see him back here at the track this evening. Zach, welcome back, by the way. I know it's been a few weeks since you have been spotted here at the racetrack for All-American, and you come out tonight, put her on top here at Dover. Congratulations.
Thank you. Did not expect that at all. I guess it just stuck a little better for me than it did for other people.
How can you turn this into 200 laps of leading or close to being in the front and compete for that win?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and we're gonna find out if I can figure that out here soon. I did a 30-lap run with Chris in that practice session, and I mean, I kind of ran with him, but I was definitely falling off kind of towards the back end of that. So I'm gonna have to change up what I'm doing a little bit. But I don't know. I'm kind of going into this blind. I haven't driven this car since the last time I showed up for this league, so we're gonna see what happens. It'll be fun. Really, the goal is just kind of not take anybody out, making some stupid mistake.
That can always happen sometimes, but man, congratulations. Go get some laps in. You got a couple minutes here, and hopefully maybe we find a way to talk to each other in victory lane.
I hope so. You have a good one.
Yeah, you too, buddy. That is, of course, Zach Henry, the pole sitter tonight here at Dover Motor Speedway, as he wins the MHD Pole Award, as we'll get him back down to his 25-11 teammates of Barkuski and Heller, who will race with Zach for the pole award, or for the race win, I should say, here this evening. Let's take a look at the point standings. I mentioned 4 drivers battling for the championship right now. Mark Whitley leading the points by 16, and that was after all you-know-what broke loose at Iowa last week. Casey Carrington running out of gas, running P2, coming out of turn 4 on a final lap, and it caused mayhem at the finish as he ends up losing points in the end to Whitley. And 16 back, McCorder up to 22 back. At one point, he was over almost 100 points back. He is now 3rd. Matthew Weeks 4th, and then Justin Thompson, who's actually not here tonight, is P5. And most of these guys here, unless some kind of miracle happens, is going to be sitting back and watching these others race for a championship. But as you look at the numbers there, look at 6th, look at 7th, look at 8th. Those 3 there, Heller, Miles, and Husby, going to be all racing potentially for that 6th, 7th, and 8th place positions here in just a couple of minutes. And then, of course, after the 200 laps here tonight, the race at Atlanta Motor Speedway coming up here next week. Team points, Driven Motorsports leading by 38 right now over CX2, Pro Edge, TI Racing, all within 174, but it is down to 2 teams pretty much racing overall for the team championship here this season. Rookie of the Year standings, Joseph McCorder is continuing to lead that over Thompson. Isabella, looks like McCorder probably going to lock that up or get close to, with Thompson not being here tonight, but we'll see how that works out. And then on the manufactured points, Chevrolet pulling away as Dodge, Pontiac, Toyota, and Ford, of course, all competing, and Chevy kind of leading the show so far in the overall team points after 12 races, tonight being the 13th race of the season. It is now time to go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, field is gridded, ready to go. For 200 miles of racing around Dover Motor Speedway, let's take a look at the starting lineup here for the Leafguard of Vermont. 200. Had one of those moments here. Zach Henry on the pole, 23.52, alongside Matthew Weeks. Mark Whitley, Christopher Heller there in row 2. Joseph McCorder. Brandon Barkuski, who had a great run last week at Iowa, starts 6. Casey Carrington, Stephen Miles, row 4. Steve Ritter, Cody McCorkle in row 5. Row 6, Mike Cusby and Nick Leo. Twice as loud as I was. Like I said, they're talking to the microphone. Unless something's not working right. Zach Rogers, Josh Dillon there in row 7. Row 8, Dylan Rosenberg, Kyle Ethier. Is anybody else not hearing me loudly? Nick Terrell, Mark Kincaid there, row number 9. Row 10, Brad Delph and Sean Dunaway. Craig Martin, Matt Telder there, row 11. Mike Todd Jr. and Todd Bellinger in row 12. As the pace car is going to pull off. And we're going to go green as Whitley and McCordy. A whole bunch of issues going on here as we got a pile up into turn 1. Matthew Weeks involved in a whole bunch of issues here. Zach Henry, the pole sitter, involved. Usually we get a bonus lap before the green, but I must have missed that. Anyways, well, that's not the best way to start. Well, caution out for the first time. I don't know why my mic would be quiet, but anyways. We'll just turn it up a little bit. See, maybe that'll help. I don't know. I just turned the gain up. But anyways, let's see what happened here. That was weird. Wonder if I bumped it or something when I was adjusting it, because obviously I did some racing last night and so on and so forth. So the top two lead them to the green flag here, and, well, something went wrong here. Oh, Henry spun the tires. And a whole bunch of cars with damage. Miles getting damage. The 22. Whole bunch of cars. Now, the good news here, thankfully, is a lot of these cars, as long as you don't have engine damage, can get back out there and get the damage fixed and be just as fast as they were without damage. As long as the engine's not torn up. Okay, Heller with damage, it looks like. Let's get a better view of this from the crash cam. See Miles getting damaged, the 21 getting some damage. That's McCorkle, by the way, making a return to the series. Kyle Ether slides down to the bottom of the track. Not the ideal way to start a race, unfortunately. And I'm sure there's going to be some unhappy drivers, but unfortunately that's the way it goes here. Actually, let's show you the race information here while we get a chance now. 81 degrees, track temp at 126, 58% humidity under clear skies, 5-mile-an-hour winds. And, of course, the league presented by Harpoon Designs and his Leafguard of Vermont 200. Let me correct that 11 real quick with a 3. It's actually race 13 now. Ta-da, just like that. Well then. So here's the interesting conundrum that happens every once in a while. There is a jinx, or not a jinx, but a, if I could learn to talk tonight, it would be dangerous. There is a coding deal on iRacing that has always been like this. Anytime at the start of the race that the pace car, or that the leaders do not get to the start of the race and a caution comes out, at that moment, the caution comes out, it almost traps everybody. Am I still low volume-wise? Let me check something here. I have no clue what's going on, if I'm sounding low volume-wise. I haven't bumped any, like everything's still the same on my microphone. Alright, so basically what I'm starting to explain there is the caution comes out. Everybody that was in front of the leaders are taking waiver rounds right now. Okay. Well, give me a second here. Let me do this really quickly. Hang on. I raced last night. Let's see if that makes a difference. How do I sound now? I just unplugged everything real quickly, which like makes my computer flip a lid. That's why I took the screen off for a second off my iRacing. Let's put it back. It's like I adjusted my microphone and other things last night when I was racing, and I moved a couple things around. And I don't know if I bumped into something or did something to turn my volume settings down or what's going on. I know it's picking me up on OBS pretty well. So they're getting everything sorted out here on lineup-wise to start here on lap number 6. Just let me know, please, so I can get this fixed. Usually, I mean, here lately, everything's been fine, so I don't know what's going on. Let's try this real quickly. I'll just switch back to my microphone, see if that works sometimes. As Green's going to come back out with Mark Whitley leading. McOrder, Casey Carrington, Steve Ritter, and Barkuski are top 5. So Stephen Henning did not make the race, the start of the race. Matthew Weeks is a lap down. So is Zach Henry. So is Stephen Miles. And so is Kyle Ethier. Everybody else on the lead lap as we get going. These guys going to try to get back into a rhythm here. Guys, keep me up to date, please, sound-wise, if you can hear me or not, as I'm doing everything over here real quickly to fix this. I'm going to turn my mic all the way up, see how high I can go there with that. As we ride with Nick Leo there in the 69 car, running in the 10th position right now. Oh, and getting a little free there is Dylan Rosenberg at 91 going to make the pass. As he goes by. Sound is good from Tyler Pluff. Thank you. Appreciate it. But apologies for the issues here in the sound and stuff. Here's Nick Terrell, who we interviewed before the race, as he battles with McCorkle, teammates here of the 81 and 21. As you can already see, the track's starting to rubber up a little bit, as it will do. And you'll start to see these cars slide around. You get about 55 laps or so on a tank of fuel in these cars. And been told that during practice it was about a 2-second fall off basically in the cars. And a shout out to the birds that are outside my yard making loud noises. It's those like seagull type things that are like, I don't even want to try to make their sound. Casey Carrington, that white, black, and red Dodge. Got Heller there, got some damage from that accident there in P4. Now, just to kind of catch up everybody real quickly on what happened during that restart, because I know we started to have some sound issues and all that and stuff. So, from the time I've started on iRacing, basically, anytime there's a start of the race and there's a caution immediately, basically anybody who has not gotten a past the start-finish line, as the caution has come out, it tells to stay behind the pace car. And then what happens is it waves everybody back around. So what happened there was Whitley and everybody missed the wreck, and pretty much from Heller back did not get across the line as the yellow came out. So that's where everybody had to wave around back to the back of the pace car, and it kind of put everybody in different positions for the restart there. It's a glitch or whatever you want to call it that's been happening for years. And happened there on that restart. So Matt Telder running into 15th position there to 35 in front of him. Newcomer to the league. That is Mark Kincaid. So Kincaid there in the 35 car running in the 14th position. Up front, McWhorter starting to put some pressure on his teammate there, about 0.2 of a second. Carrington about 1.7 seconds back. Let's go back here, Barkuski, as he's going to make the pass. And caution is out. Uh-oh. Nick Terrell. That 81 car, the Taco Bell car, goes around, bringing out the second caution. And this at lap number 20. See what happens to the 81 here. And we're going to have some leaders come to bear. Oh, spun down the back straightaway, it looks like. See if we can get a better view of this. Gets the wall, and looks like Brad Delph gets in the back of him. Kind of a chain reaction deal off of the contact with the wall for the 81. So caution out here for the second time in this Leafguard of Vermont 200. Just FYI, I'm listening to the stream right now in my ears. I can hear like this echoing sound in my ears, so I'm trying to fix that right now. So just bear with me. We're gonna get this fixed. But McWhorter and his teammate Whitley came to pit road there and took tires. So that's gonna put Casey Carrington, these guys up front, Heller, Ritter, Barkuski, Husby now going to be your top 5 as those guys come to pit road here. Yeah, I appreciate the viewers who helped me out. Appreciate those watching here this evening. And I want to remind you to be on the lookout because I've actually started it last night. And I actually had started a while back, but last night was the first time I've done it with highlights of races. You're going to start noticing on YouTube these little shorts, about a minute long, that are going out of like highlights from like battles on the track or finishes to league races and stuff. So be on the lookout. If you like to watch those YouTube shorts, you're going to start seeing some from the captain out there in the land. Make sure you hit the like when you see him or whatever, or if you come across one on the in your timeline or whatever. See, we got Techno Wizard 69 watching, Tyler Pluff, of course, Olivia Delph. Oh, you actually like to looking at my face? Brantley Roden watching in chat. Actually, I did a video for another league, a highlight of a race and have over 1,000 views on it already. I'm like, holy cow, I don't know how that happened. But you're going to see a lot more of those. All right, getting ready to go green here, lap number 23. Aaron Thomas is here too, apparently, and then Matt Telder, who will probably be in here permanently in about a couple laps. I'm just kidding. He's running in 12th right there. As we get ready to come back to the green here at lap number 23. Here at the Dover Motor Speedway, pace car pulls off, bottoms out as always. As Carrington gets a good launch and leads him back to the green. As they race off down into turn 1 and 2, 24 degrees of banking. Then they climb up out of the valley, if you will, and up onto the back straightaway. 9 degrees of banking. There's the casino and hotel section into the turn 3 and 4 area. Thankfully, we got no mannequins hanging off of the bridges there in turn 2 and 3. The All-American guys went around the track and made sure nobody had any mannequins hanging out. Which was probably a good thing. As we watch Ritter, Dylan Rosenberg having a good run so far. Dylan's been continuing to try to work at it. He's had his struggles as he gets used to racing in all these leagues. Another version of Miles, I like to call him, because as you know, Miles runs in like all the leagues that we broadcast here on the Captain Esports Network. And now Dylan Rosenberg's becoming that guy, as Rosenberg runs pretty much everywhere but the Monday and Sunday leagues. Zach Rogers, the Napa breaks, number 4 inside of Heller for 3rd. You wonder if Heller's, so he's got a little bit of nose damage there down where the grill is of that car. You wonder how much that is hurting the aerodynamics on that 8 car right now. So move him up to the 3rd position. Carrington pulling away to a pretty good sized lead right now. McCorder and Whitley starting to roll up there through the field, just being patient, picking off Brad Delft there for 10th. As I mentioned, Whitley there, and then Kincaid, and then Matt Telder, and then Tyler Bellinger, who made his debut in that 97 quality care car. There he is, racing in the 14th position. And he makes the pass for position. Whitley trying to get around Steve Ritter, of course, the sponsor of this race here tonight, and matter of fact, the rest of the series, the rest of the season. The Leafguard of Vermont number 16 car. Big shout out to Steve for doing what he does. So 31 laps in the books. As I mentioned, the 55 laps or so on fuel is what you're able to run around this track. So with Whitley and McCorder all coming to pit road here at lap number 20 under that caution, obviously that puts them out towards like 75 or so. Still got another 2 stops, or at least 3 stops maybe to make if this race were to stay green, which remember last year's race, we only had the 4 cautions and they all came in the first 50 laps. After that, we went green all the way to the end in that race. On board the Surge number 12 car of Josh Dillon. Got the Kitty Cat car, Sean Dunaway there in front of him. This track should start to open up as we go here. You see the rubber already kind of adding up. Oh, trouble right in front of the, right in front of the 12. That's the 35. It just got turned. Antonio Bianchi also involved, another driver at, I wouldn't say necessarily making his debut in the series, but he is new to at least the broadcast. He has gone around over here in the 40 car and brings the caution out. See what happens. Bianchi comes off turn 4. Oh, and yeah, him to 35. Bam! Into the wall hard. Everybody doing a pretty good job of keeping that as a 2-car wreck. All right, and leaders all coming to pit road now. All but, of course, McCorder. We'll show you a replay of that here in a second again. Looks like everybody here, 4 tires and fuel, lap number 35. And Whitley's just going to top off the fuel. He'll pull away. And Carrington going to win the race off pit road. That tricky exit right there. You do not want to go over 35 until you get to that green line. Or the green cone, I should say. Stephen Miles going to get the lucky dog and be back on the lead lap, I believe. Let's go to our crash cam here and see what happens. It's one of those, I wonder if the 35 came off the wall a little bit there, thinking he might be too high. Oh, he actually, yeah, you can see he was kind of out of shape there a little bit. Tell her the ads are always going to be like that. For some reason, I don't know what the deal is. It's always been like this, even when you're watching like regular TV. But for some reason, the ads always turn out to be way louder on any stream. And even in real life on TV, when you're watching, you'll notice sometimes that the commercials are like way louder than the broadcast is. They do that on purpose, by the way, but I don't know how to fix that issue. Because I could turn my volume up on OBS more, I guess, but I don't, that might make it even louder when it comes to the commercials. I mean, I'll try it. Just, you guys might want to turn your volume down a little bit here, because I'm going to crank myself up here. And then I'm going to adjust some volumes myself. Yeah, actually, you know what? My OBS is cranked up. It's all the way up. So, I don't know what to say about that. I'll go to my master maybe and see if that might be it. But I think I turned my master volume all the way up. Yeah, my master volume's even all the way up. So I'm maxed out. So whatever is happening, that's just unfortunately YouTube with the commercials. So 38 laps complete. But yeah, you'll notice, if you guys ever notice watching TV, that, like if you're watching a race, say, on Sunday, and all of a sudden it goes to commercial, and you notice commercials are like 5 times louder than the races? They do that on purpose. They do that to try to get your attention with the commercials. Kind of like when you go into a store and the music's cranked up. They're trying to get you to buy stuff. All right, 38 laps complete. McOrder stays out. Whitley, P2, took fuel only. Everybody else tires and fuel as we go back green, lap 38. Husby in that 19 car, 7th position for him. Dylan Rosenberg there running 8th. You see Nick Leo there, that Jewel number 69 car, P9, and a Ritter there in 10th. Right now it is the driven Harpoon Designs, your top 2 right now. We're going to see how these tires work out. About probably 15 or so laps on those tires. As Carrington going to move up to 2nd. Heller topside on his teammate there, Barkowski, and here comes Husby driving it to the bottom. Heller up to the 11th position, Josh Dillon, Chris Lewis up to 13th. A lot of drama here to start this race, just like last season all over again. Couple cautions early. As Heller making that topside work. As the Ohio driver takes that ghost car to the top side, passes the 4, has to cross over on the 77 here as he races for 3rd. And up front, here goes Carrington. Back to the front. Carrington, who's led the most laps here so far in this evening. And of course, we're very early in this race, by the way. Dylan getting a little bit loose down there. Very easy to do because remember, you got a car that's driving pretty tight and you got the wheel cranked up, and then all of a sudden you come off of that banking and basically the front end grips, and then the back end, once the swap ends, coming off the corners there. Appreciate the viewers watching us here this evening on the Captain Esports Network. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And if you're not new, we appreciate you coming back and joining us as always here on the network. Hit that subscribe button. Get the word out to your friends. Share it out. Friends, family, any Discord groups, or anybody you know. Free to share the word out to them. Come watch the Captain Esports Network. Pretty much, what, 5 nights a week now? And that, even last night I was broadcasting and I was racing. That's Barkowski looking underneath the 77 of Whitley, who's starting to fall back a little bit there. Rogers in the 4. A little bit of damage on that right rear I'm noticing. I wonder if that's killing his side force. The back end just kind of smashed in a little bit there. Not sure if he got the outside wall or if he took some contact, but you can see where it's kind of flailed up a little bit there. Flailed. There's a word for it. Up front, here comes Heller on the top side. He's making that line work. Which, by the way, is a project here, a thing that works here at Dover all alone. One of the rare tracks you can run that diamond. You enter the corner low, you let the car track up high and bring it back to the bottom like a double apex. as Heller takes the lead. Leo back there getting loose with Whitley, who's starting to fall back. McWhorter back to fourth now. Make that fifth as Rogers got by him. Oh, Rosenberg got squeezed a little bit there. Wait a minute, that's me. I'm CJ. Oh wait, that was my radio name. Never mind. Oh, Mrs. Heller as always. Hello, Olivia, by the way. Thank you for your help, young lady. Oh, Ritter and Lewis almost getting together back there. Good racing right here mid-pack. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Of course, next week, last race of the season, Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Legacy Atlanta. Friday night at 8:15 Eastern time. Might even go on a little earlier. We'll try to talk to the drivers involved in the playoffs, or not the playoffs. I'm so used to playoffs. In the championship race. Get you set up for that race on that 1.54 mile quad shape, worn out track, the Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's funny, iRacing did a survey. I think it's still out there for drivers. They put out a survey to all the drivers, and you could fill it out and send it in to them, and I'm not afraid to admit it. They put out the question, what tracks would you like to see iRacing at? And the first one that came to my mind, believe it or not, it was the obvious because it's been on my list for a while. And it's one of those they're going to have to recreate. They can't obviously go scan it because it's not there anymore. The old Atlanta Motor Speedway from the 90s. The version that was a straight up oval. If they could find a way to put that track on here, oh boy, I'd have so much fun again. Not that I'm not having fun, but even more fun. Tyler Bellinger battling with Dunaway there, and you see Whitley's now falling back. Now we had synchronized getting looses as Bellinger tries to battle Whitley there. Josh Dillon at 12 right there with him. So 56 laps in the books. Telder up to 7th now, going to battle Leo, the dueling white cars. Heller leading by 7/10 right now over Casey Carrington. He's got 8/10 over Barkuski. About a half second over Rogers. Then there's Husby, and then there's these two going at it. And Telder's going to clear for position and bring Rosenberg with him. Rosenberg did clear for 7th, so move him up in position. So we got 22 cars in the lead lap. Matthew Weeks, that first car a lap down, looking to get back on the lead lap here after that lap 1 mishap with Zach Henry. Henry just unfortunately spinning the tires at the start of the race and caused a little bit of chaos, unfortunately, as I'm sure he felt terrible about that. Go back here, got a couple of old school paint schemes right here. That Ford Credit Quality Care car. You go back to Dale Jarrett, of course, the late 90s, early 2000s when the 88 car was introduced. Brought Todd Parrott over. Won the 99 championship with that car. Won 2 Daytona 500s in that 88. And you got that Blue Deuce back there, that Miller Lite car of Kyle Ethier. Can't help but think about Rusty Wallace back in his heyday. Of course, later on became Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, and now, well, it's not really the Blue Deuce anymore because Miller Lite's not the sponsor, but Austin Cindric in that car. So everybody came to pit road at lap 35. You add 55 to that. Should be about lap 90. We'll see cars on pit road about 25 or so laps from now, as you're starting to see the cars get really tight through the corners, and that's where you're seeing them kind of slide up the track, and then the back end just kind of slides out from them. Right on cue, Lewis doing a demonstration for me. Heller putting the lap on Justin Ray. There's that diamond for you right there for those who have never seen it really ran at Dover. Dover, very easy to double apex. So you want to drive in straight into the corner, let the car slide up about half a groove or so, and he's bringing it back down to the, I would call it the white line, but there's not really a white line there. And apex it off, making the straightaways longer. Slowing it down 125 miles an hour. Back in the heyday, a lot of the drivers used to brake there into the corners, and they would actually get back to the throttle mid-corner and then roll back out of it at the exit of the corner. Nowadays, you actually see the guys just kind of let the car roll all the way through the corner and then pick off throttle at about 3/4. These guys back here just can't get away from each other. Zach Henry coming to pit road in that 39 car. We're 69 laps in this time by into the Leafguard of Vermont 200. Appreciate everybody joining us on the Captain Esports Network on this Friday night. Oh, Lewis, hold on. You about dropped the hot pocket. That would not have been good. Got to remember too, the straightaways on this track, the 9 degrees of banking right here, that is higher than New Hampshire, the Milwaukee Mile, a couple tracks off the top of my head, banking wise, Gateway, turn 3. So just kind of naming off some tracks in my head here as I roll through all the Phoenix, turn 3 or turn 1 and 2 now, I believe, is 9 degrees of banking. That Dover right there straightaway is as tall banking as those corners. So you're trying to get a car gassed up as you're climbing out of a valley, if you will, back onto the banking as caution's going to come out. Chris Lewis, Brad Delph. And Lewis's motor's blown, it looks like. Brad Delph with some heavy damage as the pace car squeezes through and brings out the 4th caution here. And they're all, look at it, they're all spinning the tires through the corners now. I was just talking about climbing back out of the bank. Oh, and Lewis and Delph just come together. Self-cleaning trap. I think the 35 gets clipped. Let's go to pit road because we got the leaders in. Race off pit road. I think Carrington's going to get him. A little bit of a slower stop there for Heller, 15-1. I'm seeing some 2-tire stops here. 11.4, 6.6 for Ray. That might be a fuel-only stop. That's interesting calls. Let's bring Ritter up here. And Steve is Steve's been doing some pretty good things here for the series. Steve, you got a copy, bud?
I do. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, man. Good. Obviously, I know it's been a little bit of an interesting race here so far. I'm actually looking for your name. There you are. 8th position right now for you. Of course, Leafguard of Vermont. You got a lot of things as this kind of gets, I mean, I guess there's really not a busy time for you, but I'm thinking as we go into the spring and into summer now, busy time for you guys.
Yeah, actually, we're ramping up right now. Ironically, I almost missed tonight's start because we're ramping up. So, but yeah, we're getting busy right about this time of year.
What is it about, like, obviously you get storms, you get situations like that where, you know, we're getting a lot of rain now in areas. I know where I'm at in Indiana, we've been getting a lot of rain. Not sure how it's been up there in Vermont, but obviously storms can cause issues and that kind of thing.
Yeah, the system really prevents like damage to your basement, your foundation, and stuff like that. A lot of times when people have musty or water coming in their basement, they just think they go for basement sealing, and there's a lot less expensive options out there, like our gutter system. That's one of the things we protect against.
Yeah, obviously Leafguard of Vermont doing plenty of things. I know I overheard you talking a little bit there before the race about you guys are out there working hard. How many people work with you there in that Vermont area?
My branch is actually not very big. I've got 5 installers and 6 sales reps.
Planet Bunny outside, by the way. Well, it's obviously good to see you're being successful up there. All the best, and we appreciate you sponsoring, of course, these last few races on the season. And let's go get you a top 3 finish tonight.
Yeah, I'm working on that, trying. Thanks, Chris.
Hey, yes, sir. Steve Ritter, appreciate his sponsorship here in the series for these races, and obviously, as you see, working hard up there in that Vermont area, Leafguard of Vermont. And, of course, they got different areas that you can see Leafguard and stuff. And make sure you check them out in your area there. So I'm going to just double check myself here. Yeah, check out leafguard.com. Matter of fact, it's their national website, it looks like, that you can go and check out for offers and products and stuff like that. So, of course, he is in the Vermont area for those up in the Northeast. And for those listening on the stream right now and watching, it's your chance. We're going to turn it up here. Christopher Heller's gone back to the front here as we lead lap number 81. Casey Carrington, Zach Rogers, Brandon Barkuski, Mike Husby there in the top 5. McCorder has worked his way up to the 6th position now as he gets himself back cycled up on tires. See Rosenberg back there. He's under attack as Whitley tries to get around him. Steve Ritter right there with him. Leo Ethier. The top 11 cars right now. We had 4 cautions in this race so far, which was the number we had last season before we went green the rest of the race. And it's by far not the track record of cautions that we have seen in the season, or in the series, I should say, here at Dover Motor Speedway. As we talked back at season number 2, ran in October of 2021, a race that saw 16 cautions. And I believe it was probably time shortened because I see they only got 193 laps in that night in that race. So obviously it was a little rough one there. And that was in the ARCA car at that time. Season 4, September of 2022. I think that was the ARCA car still. Had 11 cautions, and then they came back in the Gen 4 last year. Mark Whitley went to victory lane in that 200-lap race. Holding off Christopher Heller by 8 seconds. As mentioned, he was green for a very long time. At the end of that race, he led 118 laps that day. Heller finishing 2nd. Unfortunately for Brad Delph, he finished 5th in that race, and that will not be happening here tonight when it's all said and done. Or Young, appreciate you, young man. Appreciate it. As there's Whitley battling with Rosenberg for 7th. And is going to clear the 91. Up here for 2nd all of a sudden. 4 cars under a blanket as Carrington. You wonder if he's kind of backing up to the 4 maybe to save some tire. But either way, he's kind of holding up Rogers here. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th underneath a blanket. Ryan here with Barkuski. Coming off that top 3 finish at Iowa last week, and he kind of even admitted he's like, I might not deserve that the most, but hey, it doesn't matter how you do it. A top 30, whoa, easy. As I've always said, the old rule of racing. The objective for you is to be the first person across the line in the least amount of time possible. That's how you win. It sounds so basic, but when you look at the logic of racing, that's all you have to do. And you look at newspaper articles, for those who read newspapers still, or online or whatever. When you see Mike Trout hits a home run, it doesn't tell you how far it went most of the time. It doesn't tell you what pitch it was, doesn't tell you anything like that. It just says Mike Trout hit a home run. It could have been a blast that went out to the rocks in Angel Stadium there, center field. Or it could have been just, it could have been inside the park and they didn't say a word. Home run's a home run. A win's a win in racing. Heller pulling away to 1.5 seconds. I almost wonder if that nose damage he got in that lap 1 accident might have made the car drive a little bit better there. It looks like he's got it fixed up. Let's Go rear chase here, take a peek. Yeah, there's still some damage right down there where Grand Prix is. See where it's kind of pushed in a little bit there. That Ghost number 8 car. Never had Swedish fish before, by the way. Are they any good? How about the news, by the way, of the Gen 4 car? Dale Jr. put it out on Twitter. They are working on the renditions of the actual NASCAR Gen 4 car. Sounds like they're going to use shades of Kevin Harvick's 03 car and Matt Kenseth's 04 Ford. That'll be the basics of those two cars. Not sure what they'll do with, like, if they're going to bring a Dodge car out, or Toyota wasn't really around for the Gen 4 till the end. Kind of curious to see how that all goes, but there's been some pretty cool photos and renditions, and it sounds like they're going to work on different packages from the Super Speedway car to the Speedway car and short track car. The only thing I hope for is that we get the cross pipes. And for those who don't know what that reference means, go to go look up like the 1995 Daytona 500 or Talladega or whatever. Just listen to those the sound of that 4 car. Patty's telling me Swedish fish are awesome. Okay. We ride with Mark Whitley, 6th position here. You see he and his teammates starting to rally up through the field. They tried that strategy there at the first caution, and unfortunately the cautions really haven't played their way out for them. So they've had to kind of work their way up through the field as Carrington and the leaders put a lap on the 97. Now the question's going to be what the question going to be, what are they going to do with the ARCA car? You wonder, is this the time where maybe they turn the Gen 5 or even Gen 6 cars? Willie gets the wall off of turn 2. And turn it into the new ARCA car like it is now, of course, with the composite bodies on them. Oh, 97 in the wall. Whitley does a good job to avoid. NyQuil gummy bears. Out of curiosity, Mr. Tucker, are you one that eats NyQuil gummy bears? Or gummies of some kind for NyQuil? Just curious. Alethea starting to make some moves back here. 2 car up to the 8th position. And how about that 11 car who has been sitting back here trying to get his laps back and get back on the lead lap. Matthew Weeks involved in that lap 1 accident, started outside pole. As we cross the halfway point, he's in the 19th position and just waiting. Brantley says sour snakes. I remember the gummy worms back in the heyday. I think you still get them at like the store. They had like the green at the one side, and then you blend over into red at the other side. I used to eat those things like religiously. Always got them when I was like in class, like 1st grade or whatever, 2nd grade. I remember always getting them from teachers. Seems delicious. I kind of want to go get some now. Carrington's trying to hold off Zach Rogers here. Barkuski's got McWhorter now on his rear. So we're about 20 laps or so before we come to pit road here for tires and fuel. Obviously, got to wonder who's got what left. As McWhorter goes to the inside of Barkuski for fourth. I know exactly what you're talking about too, Brantley. All right, let's have a little fun here. I don't get to do this often, but I get a pretty good amount of viewers here tonight. Let's have some fun here. There you go. I don't get to do this often. Check out the chat. It's the one cool thing about YouTube. I don't get to do this often. Let's have some fun with it. Everybody go answer. I've got a question up there. What is your favorite type of gummy? And of course I put candy in there because I know what other people, if they're watching on the stream, might put. I'm not going that route. Let's see what people say here. I don't know how to answer that one, Brantley. Brantley saying that Steve has a sour snake. I don't know where to go with that one. So Heller's pulled away to almost 3 seconds now. Carrington's still second. Rogers still third. And now McWhorter has caught them. Whitley, who's gone by Barkuski now, is up here to the 5th position. GFYS Daddy. Oh, I know what the first 4 letters mean. I had to think about that one for a second. Hello, appreciate you watching. Go find your shoes. Josh Dillon back here with Leo. 10th and 11th position, and now McWhorter making moves as he continues to rally inside of Rogers. Carrington about busting it there, all 4. Oh, caution. And uh-oh. Steve Ritter is caught around. And along with the 21 of Cody McCorkle. That Discord channel is going to be having a little fun right now. Hey, I appreciate you watching there, Mr. Daddy, if you will. As caution out for the 5th time. See what happens here. See the 16 down there in that bottom groove. 12 gets loose and gets crossed up and he hits the wall, and then Ritter's got to check up and the 0-1 runs him over. Ritter was just at a bad angle into the corner there and slowed up. And unfortunately the kitty cat. Oh! Y'all saw that, right? I joked about it. I'm about to clip that. We almost had the pace car wreck somebody. Again. People didn't think it's possible. All right, let's go to pit road real quick because we got pit stops. Melnick rolls through pit road for some reason. Heller's going to win the race off pit road, and look who's back on the lead lap, the lucky dog, Matthew Weeks. So he'll fall to the back and be able to pit this time by. All right, so 6 votes so far, by the way. Get your votes in if you're watching on the stream. What's your favorite kind of gummy and candy gummies? Gummy bears, gummy worms, the Swedish fish, the snakes. And even if they're not one of your favorites, just pick the one you like the best. All right, let's go back to this caution here because I've shared the story. I don't know if I've done it on the air or not, but I've shared the story in Discords about the one time I've seen the pace car actually wreck somebody in iRacing. It happened over 10 years ago, believe it or not, to a guy named Trevor Johnson. We called him T-Man back in the heyday. And he was passing, went right through the pace car in Vegas and proceeded, and this is when he was getting a lucky dog, and proceeded to spin out immediately after clearing the pace car. I don't think it's possible. Let's watch the replay of the wreck here, and let's we see obviously Dylan trying to control the car. Ritter checks up, and then Kitty Cat runs him over. But then watch what happens here as Ritter and the pace car come together almost. The pace car is dangerous, I'm telling you. People don't believe me. Heaven forbid they actually make the pace car real in real life on iRacing. It's like the two things I always hear people say in like official races. Like, I want pit stops to be real and I want the pace car to be real. It's like, yeah, we can't even pit in iRacing with invisible cars. You want us to learn how to pit in real life without hitting like people actually on? Come on. So 116 laps complete. As Heller leads, he's going to take the outside lane here for the restart. Carrington, who's been up there in the top 3 most of the night, running second. McCorder up there in third. Zach Rogers, Mark Whitley. Everybody on tires now. One stop the rest of the way here. And you got to wonder the tire situation now. Going to the finish of this race, who's got what left? As we come to the green flag, lap number 117 is Barkowski got the wall, and here they go wrecking Carrington. Husby, Terrell gets hit, and more wheel spin. Started right up here at the 25. I saw him hit the wall as I cut the camera away. Next thing I saw was a white and red car sideways. Let's see. Again, you got a bank track here with a lot of horsepower. Right there. Oh, and then Carrington gets turned by McOrder. He must have either spun the tires or missed a shift. Or something. Yes, GFYS Daddy. Ritter is sponsoring this. So let's go on board with Carrington here. And listen here. He spins the tires and you hear him trying to shift. And McOrder runs him over. try. Well, part of that too, you can probably blame me for interviewing him. I'll listen again here. Yeah, it was almost like he was waiting to get to the straightaway before he fully floored it. And then once he did, he still spun the tires, unfortunately. It's unfortunately a restart issue at Dover is what they call that. I'm not going to blame anybody for that, but just an unfortunate circumstance. It's just a tough deal, and I can see Barkuski also spun the tires there up here in the outside row here in the 25 car. Part of his deal might have been just coming off the transition right here. He's coming over the hill right there. Bam, he spins tires. Ritter, good job locking it down there to not hit the 19. All right, so 6 caution here, lap 120. We've had a good portion of cars unfortunately suffering calamity today in this race. Lights are off on the pace car here, so we'll get the restart. 80 laps to go. Still got the one stop to get to the checkered flag of this race. Not to mention, we still got one more race as we get ready to come to the green. Let's go ahead and flash this up here for you. The point standings as we entered tonight's event. As Mark Whitley led. Of course, Carrington there in second, just involved in an accident. McWhorter there might have gotten some damage. We'll have to see. Weeks back on the lead lap. He's fourth. Those are your top 4 that are going to be fighting for this thing here. So this is an opportunity now with the damage to the 9 car, who is going to restart back near 16th or so, to maybe even put a dagger in the 9 car before it's over with tonight. But that's the fun part about racing, is there's still plenty of time here to go, and anything can happen. As Heller's led the most laps here this evening, trying to go to victory lane as he gets a good restart. Rogers this time spins the tires. But a lot cleaner restart. See Weeks already up to the top 10 as Rosenberg having some connection issues. How about that 38 car, Justin Ray? You want to talk about somebody who's had some struggles. Shout out to him. If he could finish off that 8th position finish, maybe if not higher. Or did I just throw the broadcaster jinx on it? We'll see. Matthew Weeks back to 9th. As the battle up ahead here, Kyle Ethier, the Blue Noose, trying to get around the 4 of Rogers. This is by far the biggest test Heller's going to have all night. Is Barkuski kind of shutting the door back here on Leo's with the, he's had the 9 car to battle all night, which is a pretty tough test. And then you got McWhorter and Whitley here now, 2nd and 3rd, as the teammates trying to team up on that 8 car. Shout outs here. Steve Melnick here, 14th position for him. The Georgia driver here in the 34 car. Good job here, as I mentioned, Dunaway back there at 01, that purple car there, doing a solid job. Stephen Miles continues to fight. He's in the 17th position here in the 1 car. Involved in that lap 1 accident. Not sure what damage he has left to be fixed. I mean, the nose looks pretty solid. Miles obviously trying to recover back to a good finish as we ride with Barkuski. See the separation there amongst the top 3 before you get the 4th place Kyle Ethier right there in the 2 car. I think this is a slow 1 mile track. When you watch on TV, it looks like they're going a lot slower than they are right here. There's 30 miles an hour coming up out of the corners, up to about 170 down these straightaways. Saw a video of the Kaz Gralla wreck last week on that during the practice on Saturday from somebody right there in turn 4. And it's like, man, they were just hauling it right there. Barkuski inside of Rogers for 5th, and he'll take that spot away. Talking about the history of this track, of course, built back in the 60s. See the little dirt course on the inside. That is actually the horse racing course, Dover Downs. Casino and hotel there on the back straightaway. Track was originally asphalt until about 1995. Dover unfortunately started to kind of fall apart track-wise. So they thought about the speed that these cars are running and concrete being more able to handle these cars, for lack of a better way of putting it. So they made the track concrete, and ever since then, that's what's been on this track since 1995. The same concrete. Kind of the reason why you bring up Martinsville or Bristol. Martinsville's got the concrete corners, and that is because back in the heyday, the Cup cars used to tear up the corners. Because for some reason the asphalt just doesn't handle it as well with the torque and so on of the car. Carrington. There he goes inside of Justin Ray, trying to take the 9th position back as he's got his car fixed back up. Probably driving slightly angry. Top 3. Trying to get that win. Whitley trying to get back into victory lane himself. McWhorter trying to complete the comeback. As I mentioned earlier this season, Mr. Race. And all he's done from there is his fight and claw and get himself back into the top 3 in points. So Cody McCorkle had to tow back to pit road, so unfortunate break there for the 21 car. Matthew Weeks up to the 6th position. So we went green. We're on lap 116. Of course, we had the one caution quickly in there, and then we went back green. So about 120, actually, I should say. And we're at lap 139 now. With a little bit of fuel save. We're 26 laps. We'll go 55. Obviously, from 113, 55 gets you to 168. As Josh Dillon now goes behind the wall. So from that standpoint, you get to 168. That gives you 32 laps to go. So obviously, you do not have to run the full 55 laps, is where I'm going with this. You obviously see the green with 83 laps to go. You split 83 in half. That's 40. Is that 46.5? So, no, that would be 90. So, 41.5. So do you go 41 or 42 laps and come to pit road here? Do you? I have always said at Dover, you run this car as long as you can. It's one of the rare tracks that I will run this car out of fuel before I come to pit road. Otherwise, I'm not afraid at other tracks to try a strategy or something. But I say that because with how tough it is to get to pit road here and the exit, somebody's viable to mess it up and bring out the caution, and you still track position doing it that way. So in that case, I'm going all the way to the 160 marker in that range. We'll have to see what people call for here. We hope watching in chat. Appreciate you for joining us here. Appreciate all the viewers who have joined us here on the Captain Esports Network on this Friday evening. Go back here as Rosenberg has put it in the wall a little bit here. As Teller goes by, there's Miles going by. Let's go to the battle for 5th here is Barkowski. Yikes, that got tight with Weeks. He was going to cut across his nose. And Weeks going to clear him for 5th. Lap time's fallen off about 2 seconds almost from the car's fastest lap. So obviously tires are going to play a difference here. There's Mark Whitley, of course. Oh, when that happens. So Mark Whitley, there we go. I was going to say, it apparently looks like Matthew Weeks, but now the photo switches over. The driven with Harpoon Design team, of course, on their way likely to a team championship. Of course, it's been a 3-car team most of the season, or for some of the season. But these 2 cars running pretty much the whole entire season. And Jonathan Smith, the 72, has run some races. Pretty sure after tonight's race, all they gotta do is just finish up where they are here, and they'll likely walk away with the team title here this season. Might not be necessarily the numbers they've been wanting to see, as of course Whitley went out and tied the record last season for most wins in season history in the All-American Cup Series presented by Harpoon Design. Nick Order, of course, getting his wins starting at Daytona this season. can't help but think those guys are going to be pretty happy, but not fully accomplished yet until they get both a team and a race or a series championship by the end here. As Stephen Miles has gone by Carrington for 10th as Casey starts to fall back now. As there's Telder going to try to go to his outside. These guys are fighting. You can just see the, and I'm not even talking about fighting each other. I'm talking about they're fighting the car. I mean, you saw Casey kind of make a move to go into the corner. It looked like there. Teller got up in the wall for it. I mean, they're looking down the straightaway. These guys are just spinning the tires everywhere. Rosenberg going to go by. Board with McWhorter, and let's listen. Right there, you can hear the wheel. You hear the wheel spin going in and out. Driving down into the banking area, you hear that whop, like a almost an uptick in the engine, and then you hear it again coming out. It's a wheel spin. Car gets light right there. It's Casey Carrington on pit road. So here's the first of green flag pit stops at lap 154. So 46 laps to go. And this is where I talk about Casey potentially and others putting themselves in a bad spot because it takes so long to go through pit road here. 35 miles an hour. 14.7. Let's look for Heller. He just went to turn one. So Carrington just went a second lap down. That's how long that pit road is and how slow you got to go when you got cars going 170 miles an hour down these straightaways. So what Casey needs now is for this race to go green the rest of the way, or at least get everybody back to pit road. But the positive there for the 9 is he will be 2 seconds faster than everybody, and that could tempt everybody to come to pit road before this thing's over with. We got a battle starting to shape up here for fourth as Weeks has caught the back of the 2 car of Kyle Ethier as they put a lap on Stephen Melnick. Zach Rogers is falling back behind them. As a matter of fact, Ethier is actually starting to catch McWhorter there a little bit, down to 0.6 of a second. Could see a 3-car battle here for third. Working on our longest green flag run of the race here so far. Everybody running 25.60s. Carrington running a 24.20 that time by. So 1.4 seconds. And you wonder how much Casey's actually not even running the car full to trying to preserve some of the tires. So when these guys come out with freshies, he might not be as much slower as everyone else. Carrington didn't unlap himself, so now he's 1 lap down, by the way. He's gone past Heller up ahead here. As Weeks to the inside of Ethier for 4th. He'll take that spot. Let's check back here. Nick Leo and see Miles up to the 8th position there. Justin Ray still holding on to the top 10. You see the cars kind of opening up a little bit now as the tires wear. See the track getting darker and darker as the lane starts to widen out a little bit. Battle looks like is going to be on here for the 3rd position shortly. As we look back from McWhorter back to Weeks. Craig Martin coming to pit road. And Weeks, Ethier, Zach Rogers all coming to pit road. Here we go. Feeding time at the zoo, as they like to say. Ethier 14.4. He's going to be the first one out of his stall. Then Rogers 14.6 also for him. More tires and fuel, and there goes Weeks out with a 14.6 himself. So have to roll around to the back straightaway here where they'll pass that purple line right there, that blue line, whatever color that is, and back onto the track. Here's a battle for 4th now as Miles tries to get around Barkuski. So we should see the leaders in the next 2 or 3 laps. Right on cue, here comes the leader. Heller is in. You're going, what, 150 or so mile an hour average, 155, 160. And now you got to go 35. Tightest pit road in all of racing right here at Dover in NASCAR, I should say. Four Swedish fish and 22 gallons of, well, actually take that out with percentage-wise. Gallons of Ghost energy drink, if you will, as he pulls away. Appreciate everybody who voted, by the way. Looks like everybody likes the gummy bears. The old traditional gummy bears. Nothing wrong with that. Appreciate the few guys there who voted there. McWhorter on pit road. Of course, now the gummy bear song is stuck in my head. So Mark Whitley out there, probably going to be on pit road, I would think, in the next lap or so. Miles, Barkuski, Leo, Telder, Husby. Should mention Miles and Husby pitted at that caution, the last caution at lap 119, so they get a couple extra laps of fuel here. Interesting, Justin Ray with a 2-tire stop on the 38 car. That's an interesting call. And I think he's paying for it already. He almost wrecked it coming off turn. Whoa, he's still trying to hold on to her. Easy there, 38, easy. That might have been all tires he had left too, who knows. As here comes Leo, here comes Telder. Here comes Whitley now. Let's see where it puts everybody out on the track. There's a 73 and McWhorter coming through 3 right now. And this is just unlap himself probably. The guy that is going to be in the lead, it looks like, from what I'm seeing telemetry-wise, is coming out of turn 4 right now. And he's behind that 25 car, the 9, the 11 of Weeks and Carrington right there. As they actually have just passed Whitley. That just shows you how much faster new tires are. Can Whitley go track him down in 25 laps? As Barkuski now leads. Miles on pit road. Here comes Barkuski to pit road. So everybody has made their green flag pit stops, it appears. See, Barkuski's got to let the 72 car by. They're arguing over position there, and that's not going to help the 25. I'm sure he's not going to be happy with him. And let's jump back out to the track because we're going to have a battle for the lead here in a second. Right here, Casey Carrington short pitted his way to the front and now has Matthew Weeks on his tail. Not necessarily making a winning move by short pitting, but maybe a move that can help him gain position from where he was running at the finish of this race. Kyle Ethier back here in third as he battles now with Heller as he blows by him. Ooh. Husby and Barkuski about wrecked it there off turn 2. McWhorter's about. Interesting moves there by Husby right in front of Barkuski. Guys are racing pretty hard here. I think Husby's trying to stay a lap down. He's got Barkuski right there behind him trying to battle him as they go by the leaders here. I'm starting to say McWhorter, according to my numbers here, is roughly 7 seconds back from Matthew Weeks. Mark Whitley's about 9 seconds back. Rogers goes by the 9 for 4th, so unfortunately damage control there for that 9 car right now. As Weeks 0.6 of a second now on Heller, and there's about 4 laps tire difference between those two. Had fun with that first one. Let's do it again. Poll question for all the viewers watching right now. Pretty simple question. Will there be a caution before the end of this race? Yes or no? Get you guys involved in it. Heller looking low on the 11. Pretty tight there, Husby and Barkuski. These two battling for the lucky dog behind the two battling for the lead. Don't see that often in a race. Heller to the front. Zach Henry doing his best F1 impersonation. Came to pit road, put tires on. I think some like to call it the Red Bull lap. Or the whatever you want to call it, Mercedes lap or something. Because that runs a 23:66 just now. Fastest lap of the race. Back in, unfortunately, 20th position for him. Three votes so far. All three say yes. As the teammates battle here for fifth, McWhorter and Whitley. They've got the lead down to 5 seconds apiece. Can they? They're going to have to make up almost. I'll do math here really quickly. A pretty good amount of time in these 12 laps. That time by, they were about a half second faster. So, I mean, they're there. They can get two. The problem is they've got a line of cars in front of them. And the question being, do they kind of run with each other here and catch the cars first and then battle it out? Does Whitley go ahead and make a move and try to get him? You see Rogers and Ethier right there in front of them. Got 10 laps to go in this Leafguard of Vermont 200. Appreciate all the viewers, by the way, tonight for hanging out and watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this race tonight, enjoyed the broadcast. Be on the lookout for some more YouTube shorts here in a little bit. I'm actually going to put together one from Wednesday night's race, and I'm going to put together an old one from a couple months ago that I think needs to be out there. And then we'll also by tomorrow have the finish of this race likely out, unless something dramatic happens. But look for more YouTube shorts from the captain. Get out there, hit the like button, share it out to friends and family. Feature that we're starting to work on. We're always trying to, at least my goal for everyone is to have the best product they can watch out here of iRacing right here on the Captain Esports Network. Plenty of great streamers out there in the world, and I'm trying to be the best one-man show. Put it like that. I don't know if I can be the best one altogether, because that's a tough task when you got productions out there that are phenomenal. So 6 laps to go for Heller. He's got Weeks by about 0.8 of a second. Then is 4.3 back to Kyle Ethier, 4.5 to McWhorter, 4.9 back to Whitley. Heller can go to victory lane tonight. It'll only be his 3rd career win, by the way, which is kind of a shocking number when I see this. For the season 5 champion. Had think about that one for a second. His last win actually coming at Darlington over a year ago. How about that stat? Over a year ago was Heller's last win. Back when I was talking about the whole championship jinx. Seems like the champions always have struggles. Now Whitley's kind of broken that this year. But, you know, before Whitley, there's your last two champions right here, first and second in this race. Two laps to go. As all he wants to see is this white flag. As he brings it out of 4, and we'll see it. There it is, final lap. Is the streak about to come to an end? Darlington Raceway in March of last year, the last time this 8 car went to victory lane. Tonight the streak ends. Christopher Heller wins the Leafguard of Vermont 200 at Dover in a pretty dominant effort. Weeks finishing second, McWhorter third, Whitley fourth. And Ethier, your top 5. And for Heller's third career win in the series. You got to wonder the relief here. As a matter of fact, is this his first win, I think, with Ghost as a sponsor? Because if I remember correctly, it was after he won the championship is when these guys came on as a sponsor. Sir, I don't know what your name is, but I appreciate that compliment right there. Now go find your shoes. Make sure you share it out with friends and family, please. The old Polish victory lap. Or is this a Swedish victory lap, should we say? And Craig Martin doing Craig Martin things on Pit Road. It wouldn't be Craig Martin if he wasn't doing cameos of donuts on Pit Road, as he always does. Ah, well done on the pun. Well done. Oh, hell, they're trying to pull here, but it's not working. Oh, there we go. He's trying to get him chirped up there a little bit. As Heller wins it Congratulations to him as we show you the finishing order in tonight's race here at Dover as Heller wins it over Weeks by 1.2 seconds. McWhorter finishing third, Whitley fourth. And Ethier fifth, Rogers, Miles, Carrington, Telder, Leo top 10. Barkuski ends up 11th. Sean Dunaway 12th, Mike Husby 13th. Nick Terrell and Dylan Rosenberg finishing in the 15th position. Checking out the rest of your finishing order here. Craig Martin, Steve Ritter, Justin Ray, Stephen Melnick, Zach Henry, Mike Todd Jr. finishing 21st, Tyler Bellinger 22nd, Josh Dillon 23rd, McCorkle and Brad Delph finishing in 25th. The rest of the finishers, Chris Lewis, Mark Kincaid, Antonio Bianchi, and Stephen Henning Jr. never started the race. I think he got caught over at the Air Force Base having a good time, probably flying airplanes or something. All right, so we're going to talk to some drivers here. After 200 laps of what's probably been some tough racing and a good comeback here for the 73 cars. McWhorter continues to give himself that comeback and put himself in the right spot here for the playoff hunt. Give me here a second here. Just anyways, let's talk to McWhorter here and get him up to chat here. There he is over there in the waiting rooms. Congratulations to him on a top 3 finish. Obviously, Joe, that comeback continues as you guys had to come back in tonight's race. Pitting there at lap 20, and it seemed like those couple of cautions there just right after that lap 20 mark just kind of put things back a little bit and kind of put you guys in a hole a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I was sitting there. I was sitting there and I was thinking that it was too early to pit, and we ended up having to do that second run on older tires, which really wasn't fun. It was kind of a bummer because we had good speed. I don't know if we had the 8 or the 11 kind of speed, but I feel like maybe if we had the track position, maybe we could have went up there and raced those guys for it. But all in all, it was fun having to try and think of strategy. It was also very very stressful. It was because we were in such a tight window on tires to where it was you're sitting there and you know that you need to make it in 2 stops, but
Right.
you only got 2 tires. So it was really hard because, especially on that last pit stop, because you're kind of sitting there thinking, and we were all in the same boat. I think the only person that still had an extra set of tires was the 97, but he went a lap down, I think 2 laps down. And that was kind of my worry about trying something like that. And the only options that you had was you either just pit for fuel and hope that you get a yellow late in the race and then you have tires when nobody else doesn't, or we do what we did and just hope that it goes green and run the tank almost all the way out. I had to do something to try and get around Mark again because I got kind of messed up on that restart in behind the 4, so it was anything to try and get ahead of him and just gain any points that we can. I know it's not much, but hopefully it's enough to. I think that puts us like 19 points behind Mark. So we're not out of it, but we're gonna need something.
You're not keeping track, are you?
Of what?
Of the points.
Or
you already got it updated.
I don't have it updated. I came in 22 points behind Mark tonight, and I finished third, 1 spot in front of him, and then I know third pays 42 points. Mark got 40. So, there's 3 points right there. So I don't know. I think 19 will be where we're at. I think maybe better. I don't know. We'll see how the points look here soon, but yeah, it's difficult. It's frustrating. because we're so close yet again. But it was just an up and down season, and I mean we still got plenty to hang our hats on. So, and we're going to my home track, so I'm really excited about that.
Well, obviously a great run, and I joke at knowing that hey, nothing wrong with knowing where you're supposed to be in points and having the numbers there in front of you to be able to figure out where you're at. So great job tonight, finishing third. Send some shout outs whoever you like to.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Red Camel Racing. They've been an amazing partner of mine for several years now. They supply all my real life racing gear, so go check them out at redcamelracing.com. Reaper Speed Labs, go check them out. They got amazing setups. Harpoondesign.com. Brantley does a lot of awesome work, beautiful paint schemes. You see mine and Mark's every week, and a few others that have been painted by Brantley. You for putting on the broadcast. All the drivers for a really good race tonight, all in all. The admins. Yeah, I mean, I think that's about everything. Driven Motorsports. Mark and Brantley and Daryl, Roger, John, everybody over there, and big shout out to Matthew. Talk about a rebound.
Yeah, y'all did a great job. A lot of rebounds tonight. As a matter of fact, when you look at it here tonight, I mean, you finished third, Wheatley fourth. See, Miles finishes seventh. Weeks finishing second. There was a whole bunch of comebacks tonight. So, great job on everybody's part, and great job on your part.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll be talking to each other next week. Hopefully, celebrating a championship, but you never know.
Hey, you never know until you get there. So,
Never
great
know.
job.
Yep.
Good job,
Thank
man.
you, sir.
Yes, sir. That is McWhorter finishing in the third position as Matthew Weeks finished in the second position. Let's get the 11 up here after a great comeback drive for him after the whoopsies moment there at the beginning of the race by the 39, obviously, of Henry, who obviously has already made the apology in chat on Discord to everyone about that mishap, which happens, unfortunately. But, man, you made the best of that situation, got the lap back, and finished second.
All right, my mic's unmuted now. I didn't know my mic's bugging out. Yeah. What could have been? That's 2 weeks in a row. I feel like we should have parked this 11 car in victory lane.
Well, unfortunate there that didn't happen, but needless to say, man, to come back and get a second place finish after, the first 100 laps, a lap down, getting damage fixed, if not 2 laps down, and to finish second, I would think is a lot better than what could have been, where you could have finished if this thing would have went worse for you.
Definitely. And like I told them guys in there, technically I wasn't a lap down because I had a pit to fix damage, and I come out in front of the pace car, so I never got lapped.
So you had the old the glitch that seems to happen at the beginning of the races if like you pass the pace car type thing when you start finish line move. It seems to happen that we talked about before the race, but. Talk about the racing itself, because obviously you, about midway through, I saw you start roaring up there through the field into the top 5 position-wise. You weren't in the top 5, but you were there. And it just seemed like that 11 car was on a rail.
Yeah, I felt really good. I know when I got that damage, I had like 3 minutes of damage, and once I got it down to like under a minute, I really felt the speed, and I don't know how many times I had to drive from the back up to the top 10. I was getting close to lapping myself by on the green flag. So once I did that, I think twice, I was like, okay. I mean, I need the lucky dog. If I can just get on the lead lap, and I might have a shot. And luckily, I got the lucky dog, and then we had the instant caution right on a restart again. So I didn't have to start behind all the lap cars. So it literally jumped me up to, I think, 11th. No, 12th, something like that. And that was perfect. And I was a little too far back. I knew I was better a little bit on the longer run, but I just needed to be closer to those guys. And man, I'm just like, if that didn't happen on the start of the race, I felt like we would have been the car to beat tonight.
Well, obviously it worked out for you pretty well, man. Congratulations, and send some shouts for you like too.
Shout out to you as always, man. Like I say, every single time you do a hell of a job, and shout out to Casey for the league. I know he had a bad luck night tonight, and I think he probably lost a point lead, and which sucks. I know he's had bad luck in it, and shout out to JD Designs on the scheme, and shout out to JV Designs. I guess we're just gonna wait till next season. He keeps pushing it back. He has so much. He has so much going on. He races other leagues and stuff,
Right.
and we do. So we're always together. So I just told him just to wait. So shout out to him and all the Pro Edge guys. I guess they kind of quit showing up here, but I'm glad to represent the group. And then everyone else that raced, it was a good race. Sucks it happened at the beginning, but other than that, it was fun. The car is a blast to drive everywhere we go, because you actually got to drive it. So yeah, and everyone that watched it, that was a good one, and we almost stole it at the end.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. You have a good
Absolutely.
one.
You too. As Matthew Weeks finishing in the second position tonight, congratulations to him. And that will lead us to the one guy we have left. Hard to believe that it has been since March of 2023 since this man went to victory lane. Gets his third career win in the series. I guess there was one heck of a jinx there on you being a champion, huh? But dominating the effort tonight, Christopher Heller. Welcome back to victory lane, my friend.
Man, it's been a long time coming. That was actually the last win I've had on the sim.
Whoa.
So it's been a rough year, for sure.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, you brought in Ghost and Swedish Fish, those guys, as your sponsor after the championship, right?
Yeah,
So it was your first win with these guys.
yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, talk about the effort, because, you were center punched in the middle of that wreck on lap one. Matter of fact, I think you were even in the air at one point there. And it seemed to not hurt the car much.
I only had 5 seconds of optional.
Which was the front end, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's why I lost the lead on that one pit stop, was because the crew started fixing my car.
Well, obviously, man,
Yeah.
that's got to feel pretty good.
Oh, you have no idea. It's been a very, very rough year for sure. Or past probably 13 months, no doubt.
Well, talk about the racing, obviously, as you had to battle through different strategies. You had a green flag pit stop there at the end. You pit at 169 and are able to get past Carrington real quickly there as he short pitted, and then had that battle with Weeks. And it just seemed like you were the guy to beat tonight.
Yeah, I was getting a little frustrated with the 19 because he wouldn't get by me because he had those fresh tires. I'm like, all right, and then Brandon kind of helped me out there, being a good teammate, which I definitely appreciated that. So that way we could race it out for the win. Heads up.
I'm sure. I was gonna say, I'm sorry. I was gonna say it sure probably was interesting because I had not seen this before. But you had you and Matthew side by side for the lead. Meanwhile, your teammate and Husby are back behind you, battling for the lucky dog.
Yeah, but Brandon was definitely gonna pass him. He
Right.
literally just came out of the pits. He was kind of just holding up the 19 until I could start racing the 11. And once I got past the 11, then they both just kind of blew by both of us.
Right. Yeah. Well, still, man, great job tonight. Congratulations. And I know it's gonna feel pretty good. Obviously, not gonna be a championship season here, but to get that win and maybe get some momentum going to Atlanta, and then obviously into season 8, because you do have that overall championship you can get.
Yeah, I mean, right now my focus is just winning races. It's not fun not winning at the end of the
Right.
day, and the fastest way to a championship is winning every week, which is impossible for me, maybe for Mark Whitley, but but not me. But it's really cool to be able to beat Weeks and Whitley and McWhorter, Carrington, like just everybody in the series. It's just awesome for sure. They've been very challenging and very strong this past year, and I've been very impressed with Casey and his improvement since I left and came back, which is pretty awesome to see as well. Just seeing how competitive this league has gotten since I left and came back, and I've definitely had to put in a little bit more of an effort to go out here and try to win races every week, no doubt.
Well, great job tonight, man. Send some shout outs, whoever you like to.
Yeah, first off, Brandon Burkowski. We practiced a little bit last night, and I had to beg Zach, pretty much Zach's wife, to let him race tonight. And we were able to make that happen. Unfortunately, he wrecked on the opening start of the race, which thought killed my night, and then realized that my car wasn't all that bad.
So we're gonna blame his
Man.
wife for yanking the wheel to the right then?
No. I blame Zach for not going correctly. I'll never blame Taylor.
No, good call. Good call. Now continue. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But nah, just all those guys. Obviously doing the broadcast. Thank Casey for running the series as well as that he does. Penn for being an excellent off-track admin. And just the rest of the guys out there that I race each and every week. It's really, really fun to be able to race them. I also forgot to say Zach Rogers. He was definitely a hard pass as well, like coming back through on that final run to the end of the race. He was tough to pass. He was probably a little bit harder than anyone else that I had to pass coming up through the field there.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations. Welcome back to Victory Lane, and go celebrate with the team.
Yep, sure will. Thank you.
You too. Christopher Heller gets his first win since March of 2023, and not apparently only in this league, but overall in iRacing. So good job to see that streak get broken, and hopefully he'll be able to continue on and click off some more wins, as he's a pretty talented driver there in that 8 car. So what a race it was. Hopefully you enjoyed it on the broadcast. Appreciate everybody who participated in the polls that we did tonight, and those who checked out the stream. And again, we'll get a little YouTube short done by tomorrow, probably of this race, and put up the final couple laps or whatnot, and go from there. But appreciate all the viewers for watching. Appreciate Leafguard of Vermont, Steve Ritter for sponsoring the race. Of course, Brantley, Roden, and the Harpoon Design guys for sponsoring the series. Casey Carrington for allowing us to broadcast the series. And oh, by the way, Pylon is still there at Dover. And, good job by the racers and the viewers tonight again. As always, you guys are the best. Appreciate all of you. So we'll be on the air again Sunday with another league race. And next Friday night, it's Atlanta Motor Speedway to finish out Season 7 of this All-American Cup Series season. So we're looking forward to crowning a champion coming up here in just 7 days. So with that said, we're going to take off and head to the weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday nights. And always remember, this isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.